It is the Lord's Day, November 6, 2022, here with the family at Mocha. We've been here for about a month so far. We flew into Moresby back in September. We're at Ukarumpa for about 2 weeks, and then flew from Mayura to Faya. There was no vehicle there, so we had to carry all of our cargo, about 500 kilos, 1,000 pounds, the 1.5 miles from the airstrip down to the river. We brought our 15-horse Yamaha motor with us this time, but there was Takesi's motor at Faya, so he brought us from Faya, the 1.5-hour trip, to Mocha. We pay 200 kina for that. There was a bunch of people that helped us carry all that cargo from the airstrip to the river. I paid all of them 100 kina. We had about 20 people help us carry. And then I paid Takesi the 700 kina to cut the airstrip. Thankfully, it was in decent enough shape for the plane to land on. Brent Fox from SAO was our pilot, and he said the airstrip was in fine shape. They just had to cut some of the sides. So we're still able to land at Faya, which is good. We arrived here in Mocha. The house was in good shape. It's been dry here the past 2 months and hasn't even rained really at all the past 2 weeks. The house was in good shape. There was some mold. We washed the walls. Some of the plywood, the little bugs are still eating, so we put out in the sun. That helped a little bit to kill them. Around the house, the grass was mostly cut, but we had a bunch of people the first few days. All the people of Mocha finished cutting all the grass on our property, especially down the road in the mountain and up towards the highway. We have about an acre total of property. We've had Joe fix up the fences. He's going to finish this week fixing the fences on the mountain and behind our house here where the kitchen and our room faces. So the property looks pretty good now. The wind house we had fixed up a little bit. It's still not in the best shape. It's close to falling down. So we're going to plan to get a new one built. The kids are doing school. I've been working on language. This is the trip that I've been able to speak the language the best on, which is interesting because we've been in the States for the past year. But sometimes you take a break from speaking it and you can speak it better after that break, which happened after this year. I've been translating and then preaching the passages I translate in the language, writing it down with questions and answers so that people can understand the passage better. For example, I preached this morning at our morning meeting here at Mocha from Mark 7, the passage where Jesus says, "It's not what is outside a man that defiles him, but what comes from within." And so I preached that, telling them the importance of getting a new heart and being born again, because their hearts are evil and only Christ can give new hearts. That's what I preached on. We alternate still going to Dufa and having meetings here on Sundays. So every other week we're going down to Dufa. We had a big group there last week, which was good. And this past Monday, a week ago tomorrow, which is 6 days ago, we went down to the 3 villages, Saragi, Sorbo, Kamayo. I preached from the passage in 2 Thessalonians chapter 1, Jesus will return with his angels in the fire, and those who don't know God and don't obey the gospel will be destroyed, and he'll come to get his people. I preached that passage at the 3 villages. There was one guy especially at Saragi who is from Miyagio who seemed especially interested, and I encouraged him and challenged them all to believe and to get baptized. And then at Kamayo, there's a lady who was especially interested in hearing the Bible read and preached in the language. Her name was Rose. Melissa talked to her. That was encouraging. Back here at Mocha, we've gone to Mock's house on Wednesday night and also Karabuti's. And then this Wednesday, we'll be going to Jamaica's. So we're continuing to do that each Wednesday night to get to know the people better, to work on the language, to eat with them, and also for me to preach in each of the individual homes. So we'll be at Jamaica's, Lord willing, this Wednesday if he doesn't stand us up, which he did a few years back when we tried to go there. Everything's been so dry, so they're burning a lot of grass, and Karabuti is working on this north part of the airstrip by our house to pay off the Dina for his son Eric, who's one of the calaboose guys. Bet and Tyson are the other two. So we're still working on the airstrip. Not much is getting done, but there is some progress going forward. So hopefully we'll get the airstrip done. We'll be able to land a plane directly here, even this term. We'll see how that goes. The other week, Elijah and I went up the river with Media and Badive, and we got a pig. That was our first pig hunt, so that was pretty exciting. Came back here to Mocha with it, chopped it up, got some of the pieces. We've been buying some fish from the people, some catfish, some of the prawns that are in the Turama River here. Loy is doing the laundry. I've had 2 guys each week helping me with language. Last week it was Ivan, the former counsel from Dufa, and his wife Ake. They helped me. They were pretty good, especially his wife. This week it'll be Awi and Taylor up the river here. They're going to be helping me this week. The next week I'm planning to go up the river to Kuri and then to Hiwato. I'm going to preach at those 2 villages. Hiwato is the only village in our area which has an evangelical church in it. It's not part of the language group, but they are part of an evangelical church group / denomination. They invited me to go up, so I'll be going there after going to Kuri. So I'll sleep at Kuri next Monday, go to Hiwato and sleep there next Tuesday, and then come back here to Mocha next Wednesday. I'll be going with some people here to preach and have an evangelistic trip. So we're praying that goes well. While we were gone from Mocha this past year, there was about a dozen people that have died. We counted, I think, 11 kids and adults, which is by far more than any other village. We just heard, being in Kamayo this past week, that only 1 person died, and Kamayo is about 5 times bigger than Mocha. At the other villages, only maybe 1 or 2 people died as well. And it's very interesting that almost a dozen people died here in Mocha this past year, Kobe being one of them. We were sad to hear that news. He actually died the month after we left. A whole bunch of people are also at Kikori. They've been there for a few months. Roger brought Lena because she was extremely ill, it seems like, with TB. Seymour brought Elsie, who is pregnant. Makaya and Jenny are there. Cedric and Luta are there. Ina is there. Yauka. Whole bunch of people. There's like 12 people from Mocha down there. Taylor is the standing council because his dad, Eboy, who was the councilman, died. So Taylor sort of took his place until they vote again next year. There's a bunch of guys that want to become the council. Media, who's one of the guys who's been most faithful to come to the meetings, has not been around at all since we came, which I find interesting. He took a 3rd wife. That could be part of the reason. His wife also got bit by a snake, his first one, and almost died. That could also be part of the reason. It's hard to know. But an interesting part is more people have been coming to the meetings here at Mocha than last year, which is encouraging. They're coming to hear the word. And Hanson and his family stopped going to the STA group, and a lot of them have been coming to hear the word at our meeting, which is also encouraging. So there are things to be encouraged about, even though there's been a lot of death and things to be discouraged about as well. We used the 15 horse to go down to the 3 villages. It took us about half an hour longer. With the 40 horse, it takes about an hour to get down there from Mocha, and with the 15 horsepower Yamaha motor, it took about an hour and a half or so, maybe an hour 45 minutes. But to save some fuel, it's lighter to put on the boat. So now we have 2 motors in case one has a problem, which that's good as well. The dinghy's in fine shape. Just, I guess, about a week ago, we put the sticker letters on the side of the dinghy to make the name the Messenger. That's what we named our boat, the Messenger. so people know our dinghy, and it's obviously an appropriate name for our boat to go up and down the river bringing the message of the gospel. We also had a delivery from Kikori. I used Jason, the nurse at the Kikori hospital, to make a delivery here to Mocha with 3 drums of fuel. He used 1 drum of fuel to get here and then delivered the other 2 drums. I gave him 15 extra gallons to get back to Kikori and paid him 300 kina, paid his skipper, the owner of the dinghy, 700 kina, so a total of 1,000 kina between the 2 of them to make the delivery, and then paid for the fuel. So it wasn't extremely cheap, but we're able to get fuel that way. And we also bought from Kikori Pride store flour and mortine, soap, rice, some other stuff. I'll be buying more next time, so if we can continue to buy from Kikori Pride store and have Jason deliver it here direct to Mocha, that'll be a big help, especially so we don't have to bring all of the weight on the plane, especially some heavy stuff like flour and rice and the fuel. So that'll be a help, and we'll continue to do that. Another sad thing that happened while we've been here at Mocha this past month, unrelated to Mocha, but my grandfather, my dad's dad, died in New Jersey, and my parents went back to the funeral. They arrived back here in New Guinea in Moresby today, so they made that round trip from here in New Guinea back to New Jersey and then back again here to New Guinea for my grandfather's funeral. Next week is Melissa's birthday that we'll celebrate after I make the trip up the river. Her birthday is on Thursday, so we'll have a party. And then it'll be Thanksgiving. And then we're going to have a Christmas party here in Mocha on Thursday, December 1st. And then we're going to go back to Faya for our flight back to Ayora on Monday, December 5th. So that's what we'll be doing the next few weeks. We'll make 1 or 2 more trips down to Dufa to preach. It's definitely the sunny season. Like I said earlier, we haven't had really any rain for the past 2 weeks. And our tank is half. This is the lowest that it's ever been, so we're praying for rain. We should be fine even if we don't get rain, as long as the women are going to do the wash down by the river so they don't use tank water anymore. But it would be nice to get a big storm to fill up our tank again. We have our Zolia device that we're still using. We got a new device. Still doesn't work the best. There seem to be glitches on the device, and it pauses sometimes, but it also seems to be working decent enough. We're able to communicate my mom direct through the app and Melissa's dad and some other people. We can make emails with it as well, but the emails don't always seem to go through. I contacted the auto shop at Ukarumpa to build metal stairs because our stairs here are falling apart, and I haven't heard back from them, so I don't know if they received the email. We were able to email aviation about our flight out on the 5th of December. They responded to that, so the email works sometimes. That's the main way of communication for us. We got the radio antenna hooked up yesterday, so hopefully we'll be able to talk to Dad and Mom in a few days once they get back up to Ukarumpa, and we could try out the radio, make sure that's working again. We got the satellite phone. Melissa used that to call her parents about once a week. I use that to call Jason and Kikori for the delivery the other week, so we also have that. Those are the 3 main ways of communication still. Mom and Dad are going to get up to Ukarumpa in a few days, and then they're going to fly to Boo, I believe, next week, and they'll be there for about a month. We're going to all meet back at Ukarumpa early December, and then we're going to drive down to Leh for to spend about a week there. We're going to stay the first time at the Crossroads Hotel because we can't stay at the SAL guest house. The Crossroads Hotel seems to be nice. They got a nice large pool. You get free breakfast, so we might continue to do that in the future anyway. We'll be able to get some Christmas presents and all the supplies we need again to come back here to Mocha in January. We'll have Christmas in Ukarumpa. So that's an update here, November 2022, of the past month or so here in Mocha, of our time here. doing pioneer gospel missions. A lot of things to be encouraged about, especially since we've been gone a year. We continue to move forward with the work that the Lord's given us, and plan that God would pray and plan that God would save people here, that we could baptize the first true believers this term.